There we go. Hi. Hey everybody. This is Nikki from Way Up, and we are here hosting a virtual info session with CBRE, and we thank everyone for coming. CBRE is a commercial real estate company, and they're posting lots of jobs and internships on Way Up right now. So we have Elizabeth, who is here. She is a sales associate. We have Dan here, who is also a sales associate, and Alicia here, who is a senior campus recruiter, to give you all the inside scoop about what it's like to work at CBRE and a little bit more information about what you can expect after applying. So let's get right into it. Why don't you guys take a minute to introduce yourselves, tell us, where you went to college, what you majored in, and a little bit about what you do at CBRE right now.
Elizabeth?
So Dan and I actually both went to Southern Methodist University here in Dallas. We were both commercial real estate majors, graduated with our BBAs in real estate finance, and he and I both ended up working here at CBRE in Dallas, Texas. More specifically, I was in one of the professional business fraternities there. I was in Greek life there, a number of different organizations.
Yes, so real estate finance BBA, helped lead the undergraduate real estate club at SMU. I was involved in a business fraternity, different one than Elizabeth. And then also I was in student foundation that coordinated campus events. I was a student ambassador, which in that role was a representative of the student body to donors, special guests of the university, dignitaries who came on campus.
Awesome. Go ahead, Alicia.
All right, so I'm Alicia, and I went to Texas Tech University, Red Raiders. I've been with CBRE for about a year, and I've been working with Elizabeth and Dan to really promote our internship program, which we started this past summer. So really excited to share more, as you said, about our selection process and how to get a job here at CBRE.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dan, Elizabeth, and Alicia, for joining us. We are excited to get the inside scoop. And if you guys are just joining us right now, welcome to the virtual info session. So can one of you tell me in your own words, what does CBRE do? What is the mission? What are you working hard for every single day?
Sure, I can speak to that. So CBRE is the world's largest commercial real estate firm. We are in the Fortune 500, and we service over 80% of the Fortune 100. So with that scale, being in cities all around the world, and I believe in 100 different countries, we have 70,000 employees, and each and every day we come in to create successful customer outcomes. And what that means is our clients trust us and believe in us to be strategic partners with them in their real estate needs. Whether that's leasing a building, selling a building, acquiring a building, developing, or even project management of completing that building out, they trust the CBRE name and professionals in every city around the world to be the best at that. So every day when I come into the office, my goal is to help my clients advance their real estate goals and advance their business goals, so then they can grow their businesses and create economic opportunities for individuals to succeed.
Wow, that's really cool. You're fostering to allow people to do their jobs and do their jobs really well.
Exactly.
So, Elizabeth, I know that you and Dan sort of work on the same side of things. What do you spend most of your time doing now, knowing with the background about CBRE?
So Dan works on the industrial side of things. I work on the retail side of things. So our day-to-day work is similar, but at the same time very different. I spend a good portion of my day out and about. I'm meeting potential tenants at places that I'm leasing. I'm doing background research on restaurants that have contacted me that want to expand. I'm reaching out to people in other markets, seeing if they have interest in Dallas. I'm calling people in San Francisco, New York, Chicago. So I'm either on the phone or doing research or out and about.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Sounds like every day is probably different.
Completely different. Yeah, no 2 days are the same.
Well, on that note, I want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly about working in real estate. What does it mean? Can you guys give us a little bit of the inside info on that?
Oh, certainly. I'll start off. I could go the rest of this call about the good, but the good, in short, is just getting to work with people. That's what's so great about real estate. Is you're impacting the lives of people, whether it's developing a community or leasing industrial warehouses. You're helping people, so that's our way of service. It's really rewarding. And also the people we work with here in this office are just phenomenal. Our clients are great, and we have a lot of fun. And I was saying last night at our team holiday party that I don't know anyone else right out of school who can say they're friends with their bosses, with their teammates, and their mentors. It's really amazing in that regard. There's very little bad and ugly. The challenge is being able to be a self-starter in real estate, because it's a very entrepreneurial industry. So having that special characteristic to be able to go out and see opportunities of whether it's finding the right space, whether it's finding a business opportunity, just having the creativity to see that and then carry it out to get the deal done. So that was a challenge.
Do you have anything to add to that, Elizabeth?
I would say another challenge for me is you never know what to expect, and I love that about my day, but sometimes at the end of the day, you're just exhausted because everything keeps changing. Like everything that you thought you were going to do that day suddenly changed, and now you're doing something completely different, and that's great. And most of the time I really enjoy that, but once in a while you want to come to work and just know, exactly what your day is going to look like, and that very rarely happens for me.
So you need to be flexible, you need to be able to sort of roll with the day.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And it's such a social industry that we're in the office working with people all day, going and seeing buildings and going around and having so much fun that sometimes I get home, I just want to go to sleep.
You're like, no one talk to me.
Yeah, exactly. But we have so much fun doing it. It's great.
Yeah, it sounds fun. It sounds awesome. For people who are just joining us, Alicia, would you mind telling our audience about the jobs that CBRE is hiring for?
Sure. So I can speak more specifically to our internship program, but we do have full-time positions as well. I know most of those are posted through Way Up. But for our internship program, we have interns that we're hiring all across the country. Here in Dallas, we do have a formal program that we are hosting in the summer, but we hire interns throughout the year. Would you like me to talk about our selection process or more on the internship program itself?
Let's talk about the internship program, but we will definitely get into the selection process about what people can expect.
Okay. So most of our programs for the summer last about 8 weeks. We are looking for students who are focused and have a passion for real estate, and that's really what they want to do long term. But we also understand that in college, sometimes you don't know what you want to do yet, and so you're still kind of feeling it out. So we look for all types of majors, finance, general business majors, econ, real estate, marketing even. We just really want folks that are really passionate about the industry, are self-starters, kind of entrepreneurial spirited, and want to work hard.
Yeah, great. So we have a question. Knowing now sort of the roles that CBRE is looking for and the attributes of a person they're looking for, one viewer wants to know, what is the most valuable thing that you've learned thus far through the process of CBRE? And Elizabeth and Dan, I think that this is a good question for you.
I'm sorry, explain that a little bit more.
One of the viewer wants to know the most valuable thing that you've learned thus far at CBRE.
That you can never know enough people. At the end of the day, knowledge really is power, and getting to know as many people as you can while you're still in college, getting to take people out for coffee, just get to know as many people as you can, and then at the end of the day, those are connections that you can take with you into your business life.
I can't say it any better than that. Just taking any opportunity to learn any opportunity to grow, any opportunity to meet people or try something you never tried before or something you might not know about. And you never know, and that just brings knowledge and experience that you never know someday might come in handy.
Awesome. Okay, so before we get into some individual questions that really get into the nitty-gritty of your job and your day-to-day, I want to know the craziest or the silliest thing that's ever happened on the job at CBRE, if you can share it.
So I have one. It's funny for me. It may not be funny to everyone else, but it was one of my first days on the job, and I had been sent down to go let someone into a building who was going to be doing sketches for the tenant who was taking the space. And I had never been in the building before, but I knew that the electrical lines had been cut at some point, so there was no power in the building. So I was in there with this woman, and we were walking around with our flashlights, trying to get a good scale of what was going on in there. And we walked into one of the offices, and we found a plastic skull just sitting on a desk that had been left there. And it was so unexpected with a completely empty building that we both turned slammed the door and just screamed and ran out. It was great.
That's funny.
Well, you say the silliest or craziest things. Being in a social industry with a lot of fun people, silly things happen every day around the office. We like it to be a fun place to work where people enjoy coming and enjoy being with everybody. So there's always some sort of hijinks going on, always some sort of pranks. It just makes the day a lot more fun. Some of the funnest or most interesting things I've done this week, actually, one of our industrial clients said, "Hey, we want a ranch." Okay, and so we took them on a ranch tour of various ranches throughout Texas, and it was so much fun going out on quads and running around these ranches with cattle going around. It was cool. And another fun thing was with a different client, we got to take a helicopter tour of industrial buildings around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that was really neat. So you never know what you're going to come across in this business.
Wow, that doesn't sound cool. Everyone who's watching, work for CBRE. You'll have really interesting forms of transportation taking you around to showing spaces.
Exactly.
Or at least Dan does.
Yeah.
The girl can dream.
Well, Dan, let's stick with you for a second. You interned at CBRE, didn't you?
Yes. So between my junior and senior year, over that summer, I was a summer intern here, and with the same team I ended up full time with at CBRE. And that was before we had the formal internship program, which Alicia heads up now. And I just knew I wanted to work for CBRE. It just always was something a goal of mine to attain. And so for 8 months, I just networked and tried to find my way in the door, somebody who needed an internship. And the day of my last final of junior year, somebody said, "Yeah, you know what? We think we're going to take on an intern this summer. Why don't you come in and interview?" And it worked out. And so I was a summer intern, and I went to my boss asking for a performance review, say, "How am I doing? How can I serve the team better?" And he said, "Actually, our goal is we would love to hire you once you graduate, but real estate's a cyclical business. You never know what could happen. That's our goal. So why don't you, during the school year, work part-time for us as an intern during your senior year, come in and help us out and get your feet wet and build in more to the team." So I did that all during my senior year at SMU, and then graduated this past May and built into a full-time role. So it's nice because I've been working here for 1.5 years and 6 months of that full-time, and you never know what opportunity is going to come up. That just getting to know people, making a phone call, going out to lunch, and it turned out to be a full-time job.
Wow, that's really great. So what did you do? You were an intern for a while then, it seems. And what did you do during your internship? What can students expect to be doing day to day?
Yeah, so every day our team, and anybody in this business comes in and says, "How can we be serving our clients better?" So the thought at the time, which has grown now, was have a dashboard in Google Earth where we could fly around and click on every building to see, okay, here's the amount of square footage available, here are the tenants that are in here, here are the lease rates that are running. So that was my initial assignment as a summer intern, to build this dashboard with over 1,200 industrial buildings in the North Texas area. And so we could help service our clients of having the best market knowledge and be able to visualize them. Here are the buildings where you could be, here are the transportation networks. And that was my one assignment. But then it built into, well, why don't you review this lease, or help me out with this property survey, or hey, come along on this tour with me. And they're really testing me to see, okay, can he work here full time? And you never know what type of assignments would come up, or hey, go take pictures of this building. But everything I did was great preparation for a full-time job and helped me learn. I never had to do anything that didn't have a purpose. And a lot of other, when you think of internships, oh, go run and get your boss coffee. It was none of that. It was very constructive and all going to the goal of how can we run better as a team. So they brought me in full time, and that's what I'm doing now on a full-time level. How can we serve our clients better?
Wow, that's really exciting. So it sounds like if you work for Cbre as an intern, you're going to have real work to do, real responsibility, and people are going to be relying on you for that work. So nothing to sneeze at.
Certainly. And it's very cool, especially with the internship program now that Alicia can speak more towards here in Dallas, where you get to interact with the executives of a Fortune 500 company, which is amazing that you as a summer intern get to know the CEO. You get to meet all the professionals who know your name and get knowledge from them. So at the end of that internship, you're so equipped for your senior year and wherever your career may guide you.
That's amazing. So knowing that kind of responsibility falls on interns, what sort of training can students expect to get when they enter into the Cbre internship?
Oh, yeah. So you'll get training with whatever it is you want. The good thing about coming out of school is we already have a good knowledge of technology that may be above the level of some of the more senior people in the company. So that makes us look really smart, right? Like, oh, wow, you're so quick on the computer and everything, and we're quick at learning. So you'll learn about, okay, why would this industrial user want to locate in this building? Or what makes this layout better than that layout? And just the years of knowledge from your teammates poured into you, that things that you can't learn from a textbook or in a class, is amazing. Then training as far as the programs, a program that I never used before that's very big at Cbre, and I recommend while you're in school learning, it's called Tableau. And what Tableau does is it takes data and helps visualize it in maps, in charts, graphs, in a very interactive way that allows us not to just show our clients, okay, here is how this building's performing, or here's what you're paying in rent. You can visualize it, and it just tells the story in such a better way that executives can make better decisions about their real estate decisions. So I recommend learning Tableau. But you get training along, and with being such a big company, you have experts in anything if you need help around the world, and they're more than willing to help you.
Wow, sounds awesome. So it sounds like, you know, if you're interning there, while you'll be given a lot of responsibility, you'll also be given a lot of support.
Certainly, and that's what's so great about being in a company with 70,000 employees around the world. Always someone you can learn from and someone who's willing to help you. And that's the great thing about real estate. People are always willing to help you.
That's great. It sounds like it's ingrained in the culture.
It's a wonderful culture. Yeah.
And finally, last question for you, Dan. Do you? I know that you received a full-time offer after your internship. Is that something that interns can expect?
I wouldn't expect it, because you never know. It depends on what your team's goal is. But if you think about, why would someone want to bring on an intern and train them, impart knowledge in them? Really, the goal is to hire them, right? Because you're spending the time and resources on this person to develop you, and the goal should be to bring you on the team. It depends on how the team is growing and how the market's doing. So I wouldn't expect it to in the sense of, oh, I'm an internship, I'm going to get a full-time hire, but it just should be the carrot on the stick dangling in front of you. Wow, I got to come in here and perform at my absolute best and really do a good job for these guys, because then they say, it's more valuable for us to have Elizabeth or Dan on our team. We need them. We can't function without them. We function better with them. So creating your value over that summer internship, and so then they need to hire you.
Yeah, don't give them a choice, right?
Right.
Well, thank you so much, Dan. That is really valuable information about the internship program. If any of the viewers are still left with any questions, feel free to comment, and we will make sure we get them answered. And if we don't get them answered while we're speaking, we will definitely get all questions answered at the end. Elizabeth, now you're in the hot seat. So Elizabeth is a sales associate, and you are located in Dallas, right?
I'm sorry, say that again. You're cutting out.
You are located in Dallas, Texas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, tell
So
us.
I'm located here in Dallas. I'm at a different office than Dan.
Ah, I see. Well, tell us a little bit about what it's like to work in Dallas and the pros and cons of it.
I love Dallas. It has a really strong economy. It's always been one of the strongest places here recently. All of the downturns seem to affect us a little bit less. Access to transportation here, so it's really easy when we're needing to fly out and meet tenants places. You know, there are direct flights pretty much everywhere that you need to go. And it's so central that, you know, you have access to pretty much everything that you could want to have access to. It's a really good halfway point for companies that are expanding that don't want to make the jump from coast to coast, who are looking for somewhere strong to start out with their expansion. So we've had a lot of good luck, just principally based on being here in Dallas.
Great. It sounds like a great city to live in. Tell us a little bit about your role and a little bit about your background and how that plays into what you do today.
Okay. So I actually started out at SMU as a marketing major. I did that for 2 years. I finished the degree and decided that that wasn't what I wanted to go into full time. And I had taken a real estate class as an elective. And so I switched my major my junior year and finished that major and decided that so I kind of did the same thing as Dan. I just kept pestering and pestering until they decided to hire me. Mm-hmm. And so I work as a sales associate here in our Dallas office. So what that looks like is I work on a team with 3 other people. There are 4 of us total. We have 1 senior vice president, 1 vice president, and then 1 senior analyst. I'm sorry, 1 senior associate and myself. So we have, between the 4 of us, we have a pretty good lock on downtown, all the retail there. So I work in downtown, uptown, the design district, a number of different areas with a number of different landlords representing their space. For tenants that I represent that I'm helping to expand here within Dallas and then throughout the state. So a lot of the time is spent working on those projects and doing research to figure out who would be good fits, calling on people who may not know that the space exists, you know, and then doing all of the background doing is a good fit for both the landlord and the tenant.
That sounds great. So do you feel like that marketing experience that you got your first 2 years at SMU has helped you in your role?
I think that specifically for me going into retail, it was a very good thing for me to have a background in, just because I have a little bit more of an idea what is important to the smaller retails, to smaller stores who may not have the resources to be able to go out and do all of the background research. You know, I understand what makes the difference between a good location for a store or a bad location, just more because of my marketing background and realizing, you know, what they need to be successful.
Great. So I know you were talking about how you sort of pestered Cbre to get a position. And the good thing is now you don't have to, because you can apply on Way Up. We have tons of open positions at Cbre to, you know, intern and work full time depending on your status as in school. So with that being said, after you apply, Elizabeth, can you advise any of the students who are taking the plunge and submitting their application on what to expect from the interview process and maybe some pro tips from you?
Yes and no. I interviewed more specifically in my office. I didn't go through HR as much. So Dan may be better to speak to this. With me, I ended up having a number of different one-on-one interviews, and then I was invited into a sales meeting, and I was given a group interview by about 30 people at the same time, which sounds really intimidating, but that's not part of the normal process. That was just unique to me in my office and my situation, so don't let that freak you out. But I definitely think Dan would be a better one to speak about that.
So my interview was really my summer internship. Let me think. I had 3 interviews one-on-one with my now boss, and just coming by and visiting with them and getting to know them. And that was really it, because I networked my way in. It's much different than going through a formal internship process or application process that you have now, where you meet with the managing director and everything. But the great thing about this company is everybody's just a nice person, and they want to get to know you. They want to see your personality. They want to see what makes you unique and what value you can bring to this company. So go in and be yourself and know about that person, be armed with knowledge, and just have fun, get to know them.
Definitely, those are great tips. I think I know the exact person who can tell us a little bit about the application process and the interview process to work at CBRE, and I think it's the person who actually runs the process. So Alicia, why don't you give us the inside scoop?
Sure. So first of all, I would say, depending on which position you're applying for, the process might be a little bit different. But I can speak more closely to the internship. So if you are interested in an internship with CBRE, as I mentioned, we do have several intern programs around the country. And the process is primarily 3 steps. So the first step would be to apply online. And I know we can apply through WayUp, so please do that if you're interested. We'll be going through those resumes, and some of the things that we'll be looking for are, your background, your major, your GPA, what your interests are. Have you done things other or outside of your educational background? Are you a leader of a club? Are you involved in clubs and organizations? Those things are really important, because in our in CBRE and in our sales world here, you have to be able to network and build relationships, and that's really important. So we'll be going through the applications and identifying folks that we'd like to move forward with. And then the second step of our process is actually an online interview, kind of similar to what we're doing today. But we'll provide you with the link, and you'll go on, and you'll be able to provide your interview via there's 12 questions. 6 are typed responses, and 6 will be live video responses. And so we'll be able to watch your video interview, and then decide from there, select as our finalist for the program. The finalists will then come and interview with us face-to-face in our office here at CBRE. So that's essentially a 3-step process. And that will be happening over the next few months.
Great. Video interview. That sounds nice. You can do it from the comfort of wherever you are.
Yes.
So we had a question come from some of the viewers. Steve was wondering about opportunities to grow once you're in CBRE and to kind of develop professionally. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I actually think that either Dan or Elizabeth would be better suited, since they're kind of now in a full-time role, and they can tell you what they're hoping to accomplish maybe in the next year or so as they kind of continue their growth.
Mm-hmm. So I can speak to this. So for opportunities for growth, you can grow within your team. We're starting off as an analyst to an associate, and then getting promoted up and gaining more responsibilities, gaining more business, more accounts, etc., and eventually growing into that vice president role. Or CBRE really believes in everybody's background and everybody's strengths, be able to utilize that to best service our clients. So say you're on one team, but then you discover, oh wait, there's this other team I didn't know about, or maybe my strengths suit this better, that you can, as long as there's a position for you and you work that out, you can go jump to something that might be more specialized for you to utilize your strengths. And also CBRE really believes in, if you want to go work in a different city, you have an opportunity in London or somewhere around the world, and you can transfer with it internally within CBRE to grow in different roles. So you can grow up through where you are, or you can grow by making moves around. And really it comes down to who you are and how you can best utilize your strengths and your happiness to advance your career and advance CBRE's goals with our clients.
Awesome, Dan. Thank you so much. And so we have time for a few more questions. Isabel just asked, what is the one thing that students can do during the video interview to ensure that they stand out?
Yeah, well, I would say to come prepared. I think some of the questions that are asked are going to be pretty standard about your background and why CBRE. Make sure that you come prepared to answer those questions. I always say, write it down, write down your answers and have kind of in your mind what you're going to say. I'd also make sure that you're in a really quiet space and that you come dressed like you're going to an interview. So I know while you might do it from your home or from school somewhere, we always encourage them to also dress professionally, because this will be our first opportunity to kind of see you, just like it would be in a face-to-face interview.
Absolutely. Okay, and so just to close out, because we have a few more minutes left, if each of you could say the one thing that you wish you knew when you were in school that you know today to help out our viewers.
I wish that I had made the connection of realizing how important all of those relationships are a little bit earlier. There are definitely some relationships that I could have had the opportunity to develop if I had realized that sooner, that I'm now having to take the time to develop as a full-time employee.
I agree with Elizabeth, and also taking the opportunity. I really believe of pursuing your passion and going all in on that, so you can really make a unique position and unique strength for yourself, but also things that might not pertain to what your job might be, as far as going to a certain event or different things that you might not normally do in your everyday life, taking advantage of every opportunity to do that, because you never know when that could come in handy in the future and increase your knowledge base.
And I would say just continue to grow and try to stretch yourself, get out of your comfort zone. I know for me, it's things like this, speaking, although this isn't really public, it's virtual, but things like this, find ways to really stretch yourself and do things that maybe you wouldn't normally do to kind of get better at the things that aren't really in your comfort zone.
Awesome. Well, that's some great advice. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We will be following up with more information about CBRE and ways for you to get involved and apply. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me at nikki@wayup.com, and we will direct you to the right place. Anyway, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Elizabeth, Alicia, and Dan, for taking the time to tell us about what a wonderful company CBRE is.
It was our pleasure. We love talking about CBRE. Thank you.
All right. Have a great one.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.